Hello, welcome back to Talking Insights, the podcast where we explore the ideas, people, and creativity shaping the future of insights, brands, and human connection. I'm your host, Antonio, and today we're joined by Christian Helms, founder and creative director of Helms Workshop, an award-winning branding agency known for helping companies like Jack Daniels, Hershey, and some of the most exciting startups craft brands that truly connect. Christian's story is as powerful as the brands he's building. And in this conversation, we'll dive into how design is more than just aesthetics. It's a way of shaping experiences, why great brands are worth keeping, and how creativity and play can unlock these breakthroughs. It's a great conversation. I hope you get some inspiration for your own work. But now, without further ado, here's Christian. Christian, welcome. Thank you so much for being here in the Talking Insights podcast. I want to start by, you're kind of like a name in the industry in terms of design, creativity. So I want to kind of start by asking, what drew you to branding, design in the first place?
Yeah, definitely. So I grew up in a small town in North Carolina, pre-internet. And I didn't realize that design and brand was something you could do for a living. Yeah, the branded stuff I was seeing were like Doritos bags, and those don't feel like people made them. It feels like a machine made them. So I went to school for journalism, and I was doing lots of writing and lots of art classes at the University of North Carolina. And I was like, man, these are the two things I like the most. I wish they could live together somehow. And towards my end at Carolina, I found an introduction to design class. And I was just like, this is it. It was an epiphany. It was awesome.
And you kind of used a lot of curiosity on your work, because I can imagine that you have to be curious to come up with new designs, to be creative. Is that like a way that you use, or is it curiosity something that you use on a day-to-day to fuel your creativity?
Absolutely. If you can keep curious, and keep a sense of play and wonder in what you do, the creativity just keeps coming. Really, my job is essentially creating moments of wonder for people. It's little moments of surprise or delight or information that kind of changes their day. Whenever I think about what I do, I generally say my job is creating moments of wonder, and my purpose on earth is to create things that bring value and joy to people's lives.
Is there a moment that you can recall that curiosity or this creativity kind of unlocked something on a brand or a project that you were working on?
Yeah, we have a client called Austin Beer Works. It's a brewery client here in Austin, obviously. They were having trouble with a beer that they had launched. They called it an extra pale ale. And that just confused people. They didn't know if it was like a really hardcore pale ale or if it was like really, really light and weak. So they thought it was going to be their best seller. It was their worst seller. They tapped us to essentially come up with an idea to reintroduce the beer to people. First thing we did was change the name to Anytime Ale so people could understand that, oh, this is something I can drink anytime. Like, I should probably have a bunch on hand if I can drink them anytime. So we thought we should do a multi-pack. That'd be a great way to communicate that, oh, these are light, you can drink them whenever. So we start kind of being curious about that, right? Like, what does a multi-pack for this brand look like? Is it shaped like Texas? Is it weird in format? And essentially came up with the idea of doing a 99 pack of beer. It was about 8 feet tall, and it was covered with all these different occasions that were right for an Anytime Ale. And that thing caught fire. There were people following the trucks around the city trying to buy them. It was on the front page of Reddit. It was international news. It was on the Today Show and Comedy Central. It was everywhere for a couple of weeks, all because we were curious and looked at it a little bit differently. It did something that was absolutely preposterous, but got everybody's attention.
That's so good. That's amazing. Yeah, I kind of heard about it, which is interesting. Like, from all the other side of the world, I heard about it, that I didn't know it was you guys that did it, and you did.
Yeah, it'll probably be my gravestone one day. It's like something that nobody forgot. So yeah, right.
That's great. Is there a way for companies to cultivate this curiosity into their teams? Because sometimes you can have like someone that's very like, I'm very creative, and it's usually the design guys or someone in the design team that's very creative and come up with some good things. But is there a way for CEOs or management roles to cultivate this into the teams?
Yeah, I think so. I think the first step is just letting people know that it's an opportunity and a possibility. So many agencies, so many jobs are really siloed, and leadership doesn't want you to step out of your lane. The way we work is naming is a good example. We do a tremendous amount of naming for brands and businesses. And my rule of thumb is I don't care if the janitor comes up with the name. If it's a great name, it's a great name, right? And then beyond that, just celebrate. The more you do things like the 99 pack or some of the other things that we've done, you start to kind of educate your team that, oh, we don't have to stay inside a predetermined box with what we're doing. Like we can be curious and sort of wonder what if, and discover things that are much more resonant and interesting to folks than your typical branding or marketing.
Is there in some of those companies or some of those brands as well a way that you don't look as much for the metrics and the reach and the impressions and all of those things and focus more on the connections? Because I can imagine that when you're doing like the 99 cans, you're not thinking as much on like, is this going to reach the front page of Reddit? And probably more thinking about like, what kind of connection can I build with the person that's going to buy this pack? Is
Absolutely.
there is there something that people can like look over and more on the connection side?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first step in any kind of great communication has got to be building an authentic connection with people and giving them something of value, right? We absolutely care about metrics. We want it to perform well, but you're going to have to separate those two conversations. On the creative side, got to find a way to reach people and inform them and surprise them and create those moments of wonder. And then once you've kind of figured out that idea, you can look to the metrics and say, how will this perform? But if you start with only the metrics, you're just going to do the same ads that everybody else is doing that are performing well in the marketplace, and you're not really going to cut through the clutter.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was looking at more information to prepare for this episode, there were two kind of sentences that I saw and that kind of link to you, which is defining the trash can and thinking sideways. Can you
Yeah.
explain me and to our listeners what does this mean? The defining the trash can and thinking sideways.
So when we build a brand, and let's say it's a beer brand like Austin Beer Works, and we're building a piece of packaging. I want that packaging to stay on their shelf after they've consumed the product. I want them to not want to throw it away, even though it's a piece of disposable packaging. I want to see it up on the shelf or on their desk at work as a pen holder or whatever. That is absolutely the goal. You want that stuff to be evergreen and stick around. The other thing is just teaching yourself and embracing the idea of lateral thinking. So if linear thinking is A leads to B leads to C, lateral thinking is A leads to baseball bat leads to crocodile, right? It allows you to distance yourself a little bit from the logical progression of thought into an unexpected place. And there's this great book that a mentor of mine turned me on 2 years ago by a guy named Edward de Bono called Thinking Course. And it's all of these tricks to essentially snap your brain out of linear thinking into lateral thinking. Linear thinking, you get a brand name like IBM, International Business Machines. Sure, it's informative, but like nobody wants that on a shirt. It's not cool. It's not interesting. It's not compelling. It's not exciting. But when we name a brand, one of the benchmarks I have is can you print it in plain text across a t-shirt and it would be something people want to wear or you would ask a question about. And there are all these different tricks you can do to essentially kind of create that moment of play and push yourself out of expected thought patterns, which serve us well in everyday life, right? Like we know fire's hot, don't touch it. So that's important to have those structures in place, but you've got to be able to trick yourself outside of them to come up with creative solutions.
Do you think the industry or the building brands industry, or I don't know, is that where you see it going more like a thinking sideways in the next 5 years? Do you think like the people will be more into that, or do you think we'll go back to the IBMs and CNNs and etc.?
It's interesting. I think people will always respond better to that than the linear solutions. That said, particularly with some of the new technological advances we've had recently, we're going to see a lot more linear solutions because of things like ChatGPT, et cetera. Those things are great for informational purposes. They're great for ideating There are tons of ways that we use that stuff around the studio, but it's always going to, in the end, at least at this point, be essentially just a synopsis of everything else that's out in the world. And that's not how you create something new and fresh and interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Helms Workshop, how long have you been open shop?
15 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We've been around a little bit.
Yeah. Is there like a project? And I know that we already mentioned the 99 cans. I can imagine that's like a one of those projects that kind of marks you. Is there any other project that you're really proud of it, or that was really tricky when reading the first when the first input, and then you have to think about it? And was there
Yeah.
any project like that?
Well, I'm fortunate in that I could name 15 of them. We love open rooms. We are the rare agency that gets to work on fun, interesting stuff. I always joke we don't have a semiconductor client because I don't get passionate about semiconductors, right? But I love, outdoor apparel and the craft beer and hospitality and all these other spaces that we work in. And I think one that I would highlight is a brand called Howler Brothers, which is an outdoor clothing company. And talk about embracing sort of lateral thinking and putting something out there that is completely different than anything else in the outdoor industry. It has a personality and wit and humor and big, bold patterning. And it's just sort of a free spirit of a brand. And people are absolutely just ravenous about it. Huge, passionate followings all across the country. And that's for an apparel brand. Like apparel is a tough industry. And how many apparel brands are people passionate about? They're mostly just kind of functional. So to create that right here in Austin, Texas, we're really proud to have been a
Yeah, apparel, like it's one of those things that it can be in the top of the world for 2 weeks, and then there's another shirt, another collection, another thing. And I feel like bringing that brand connection and the connection with the real world, it's really important. I
absolutely.
wanna finish by asking. We always ask this, and we have people listening from the young people going to the industry, the students, but also the CEOs, the managers. If there was an advice for all of those people, what would that advice be?
Well, for young folks coming into the industry and showing their portfolio for the first time, trying to get a job, make sure that you are in the work. Like make sure that the work you're sharing shares something about who you are, what you're passionate about, what matters to you, what you stand for. And there are a lot of different ways to do that. But when you're interviewing for a job, your work is one thing, but people want to start to understand what you're going to be like to have around the office. Um, I've in my career, I've hired the third best portfolio dozens of times because they were great human beings. They're absolutely fantastic people. I can teach you to be a good designer, right? But I can't teach you to be a good person. Well, that ship sailed a long time ago.
Yeah,
But honestly, give that same advice to CEOs, etc. Like find just absolutely exceptional human beings. I got 15 of them here. There is no weak link in our chain because they're all awesome people. And they protect that culture as much as I do. It just like makes me insanely happy.
that's great. I just yeah, I'll link all the work for Helms Workshop in the description, because I feel like some of the projects that you worked on and the workshop worked on, I think they're very fantastic. Not only like the 99 cans, but the I can see that you put there the Tacovas, the
Yeah.
brands. It's also very. I really like the what you did with the branding there. There's so many other projects that are very fun. Yeah, I just wish you the best for another. I don't want to say another 15 years, but another as many years that you want to have it. And I wish you all the success for your work and for your projects. And
Thank you.
thank you.
Funny enough, today is my 49th birthday. So in 15 years, they're going to be running this thing. It's not, but I'm in for the long haul. So we'll see.
All right. Well, happy birthday, and I wish you all the best. And thank you so much for your time, for spending some of the time of your birthday on this. And yeah, thank you so much for your time.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Antonio.
Thank you. And that's all for today, folks. I hope you found some inspiration and Christian journey and ideas, and that you can embrace curiosity and play in your own work. As always, you can catch more of these episodes wherever you listen to your podcasts and on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.